Okay, welcome back to Teal House Farm. Today we're solving a problem. Now there's two kinds of problems you encounter when you're homesteading / frugal living / out in the country life. Sorry, well there's problem number 3. Our neighbor's going to practice his gun shooting when I film this, so you can listen to that. They are either urgent emergency problems like a sick animal or a big fence breach or something like that. And then there's the annoying little problems that you really don't understand why this problem even exists, but now we have to fix it. And that's what we're dealing with today. So behind me I have my garden, which is looking pretty darn good. Except we've started free ranging our ducks. Where are they? They're down there. I can hear them. And they have decided that they like my garden. Now, I would like to remind you, they could forage down here with a cute babbling brook and all of the wild, like, blackberries and bugs and things you could ever want. They could forage over here right next to their coop where they get locked up at night, which leads right to this beautiful wooded, lightly wooded brushland. Heck, they have 5 beautiful pasture acres with a pond in the middle that they could spend their days splashing in joy. But nope, they spend their days in this tiny little garden patch stealing my tomatoes. And at first I didn't believe it that it was the geese stealing the ducks stealing my tomatoes, because I didn't really think ducks were that big of a fan of tomatoes until I saw them running around the yard with my freshly picked tomatoes in their mouth. So we are going to now have to fence off the garden, not because we have a predator problem or a wildlife problem. Oh no, our own ducks are sabotaging our garden. So let's get to work. This should hopefully go pretty easy. So I set up this play area for the kids right next to the garden, and it kind of fences them in. And the reason I do that is if they're playing with like their little splashy pool there that's deflated, the ducks and the geese try to get in with them, which 1, the kids don't really like, 2, it's a sanitary hazard, and 3, ducks with their little webbed feet, and the geese too, they have nails on the bottom and they'll puncture the inflatable pool. So we have this like fenced in area. It keeps them out. They don't try to breach this fence even when that pool is full. So I know even with the fence not being electrified, the poultry netting is enough to like discourage them. So we're going to open up this fence and stretch it a little ways to the garden. This is not enough fencing to go all the way around the garden. So we're going to have to go find another roll of fencing and untangle it, which is my least favorite thing ever. And we are going to surround our garden with this unelectrified Premier 1 poultry netting. If you've been around here long enough, you know that we bought this Premier 1 poultry fencing probably 5 or 6 years ago now. We were super excited about it because all the homesteading channels talk about how much they just love it. And it was kind of a wah expensive purchase. Like, was it terrible? No. Was it worth what it cost? Absolutely not. But we do use it in a pinch for weird problems like this. Anytime we need to corral in an animal for a short period of time or corral the kids in, it works really well. Obviously we don't electrify it, but it's never quite lived up to its name or its hype. We felt like, at least for us, if you live on pasture or on land that is very hilly, it does not work very well. You also have to note that the bottom wire is not electrified on Premier 1 fences, which means animals can get smart enough where they realize the bottom wire is not hot and that they can go under the fence, which predators are pretty smart and they figure it out. So for us it has not been the best fit, but for purposes like these, it's the most expensive garden fence we will ever make. Let's put it together. Let's go do it. We gotta go get fencing. You always need a construction manager to make sure the job's being done well. So I grab our local helper here. He's a member of the union. He does okay work. I feel like he kind of slacks a bit. He never does the heavy lifting for me. He just kind of watches, but he's pretty cute. So he's usually the one I bring with me. Gotta drag this fence from the barn down to the garden, and then we'll start getting it set up. First thing I want to do is open up the existing fence. And we want to try to rearrange it so it connects all the way to the house. I want to make a little conduit from the mudroom door out to this little paddock I'm building, because one of the other annoying problems we have is that the ducks and the geese poop all over the sidewalk outside the mudroom. And so whenever the kids want to run out and play, They always are greeted by piles of goose poop. I have no idea why they have to poop right there when they have all of this land to use, but something about pooping on concrete just makes them happy. So we're gonna block their path so that that's not even an option by connecting the fence directly to the mudroom. Construction manager starts to disrobe again. I have to remind him, you gotta keep your clothes on the job site. So we get him reset. And then we're going to work on the other side of this fence, which we're going to pull down and then put around the back side of the garden. This part's the easy part because this fence has already been set up, so all the tangles have been dealt with. Just need to move the posts to make a straight line. So doing the easy stuff first, then we'll get to the annoying hard stuff, because this Premier fence, doesn't matter how carefully you package it up, it always finds a way to get tangled in storage, even if you fold it up perfectly. I noticed we got a lot of poke weeds growing outside the perimeter of what used to be the old garden, which we aren't doing anything with this year, obviously. As you can tell, it's just totally overgrown. So I cut those down. I wouldn't want any of the kids to mistake those for blueberries and make themselves really sick. So I just cut them down and I toss them inside the fence of the old garden where the kids don't go. And that problem's dealt with. And then quiet time was over, so I'd take another break. We're gonna get the outside play area set up so that they can splash and play while I finish putting the rest of the fence up. The days are starting to get a little bit colder, but by the afternoon it's still plenty hot for some water play. Okay, so while they're busy, we're going to start this side. Again, we're starting from the side of the house, so the geese and the ducks can't get in anywhere or anywhere near the concrete sidewalk. I don't know why I started on that side of the tree. That was kind of dumb. So we take the fence and toss it around the tree. The tree is the dog's favorite place to lay down, so I wanted to make sure that was enclosed in the fence. If she's outside with us, she can still have her favorite spot. And this is what I mean. It just always, it doesn't matter how carefully you roll it up. When you try to set it back up, it always finds a way to get all twisty turned and upside down. Wrestle with it, I get it set out, and we're gonna get it put around the edge of the garden here. I'm keeping the compost pile outside of the fenced area, and I have way too much fence, obviously, but that's okay. So we're gonna overlap it just to make sure there's no easy access for the ducks. And then we're just gonna leave the leftovers in a pile on the outside, because we don't need to set it all up. It's just gonna make me more frustrated anyway. And that should work pretty good. I have it connected to the house. It goes all the way around the play area, back of the garden, side of the garden, all the way back to the house. And that should keep ducks and geese and chickens out, but the cats and the dogs will still get in anyway, and that's just fine. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.